What is going on, beautiful people? My name is Salvador Chang, and this beautiful individual right here, this is Griffin. So Griffin is going to be our scuba instructor, and this video is basically explaining how 4 skydivers turned into certified scuba divers. So by the end of this video, once again, 4 skydivers are going to turn into 4 scuba divers, and this is the journey that we all went on. So it's going to be myself, Andrew is going to be the other gentleman joining us. There's going to be Caitlin and Kyra. And then this is just basically Griffin explaining to us, after we got all our gear together, how we're going to go ahead and enter and exit the pool. There was a bunch of training that going on during this journey. The training overall was pretty extensive. I had no idea how much went into actually scuba diving and like getting certified and everything. But Griffin was an amazing instructor, guided us step by step through the whole journey, made us feel comfortable, patient with each and every one of us, making sure that all of our needs were met throughout the journey. So Griffin, I truly appreciate you. Thank you. And I love you. So yes, this is us doing some pool work. Once again, there was 2 days in the pool, and then we actually did 2 days at the springs. So this is going to be Blue Grotto. Blue Grotto is absolutely beautiful. I highly recommend checking it out if you are in Florida. And actually, Blue Grotto and Devil's Den are right across the street from each other. So if you have the opportunity, do both. Once again, we spent 1 day at Blue Grotto and then 1 day at Devil's Den. This is the grotto itself. This is what it's going to look like when you walk up. So as you can see here, there's a staircase going down, and then the Blue Grotto is going to be to the right. They had camping and pavilions and everything to the left. So some highlights from Blue Grotto. There was a turtle, and this is the residential turtle of Blue Grotto, and her name is Virgil. And as we were doing all our exercises that we did in the pool, now we had to do them in open water, we were doing our exercises, and Virgil actually came out and hung out with us for a little bit, which was really cool. Also, the water is actually blue. Like, I don't know if you can see it from here, but the water is blue, like naturally. It's absolutely beautiful. I would highly recommend anybody go check it out. Now to Devil's Den. So this was actually the second time that I've been to Devil's Den. The first time I just went snorkeling though, and that was years and years ago. This was the second time, and it was even beautifuler. It was more beautiful the second time I went, because I actually got to get down there, see it, and actually explore it, because we were scuba diving. So we did 2 dives at Blue Grotto. I wasn't able to film any of those dives because, like AFF or like any training thing, you want to make sure you're focused and you're not filming, because filming adds a whole nother layer of distraction to it. So when we were at Blue Grotto, I was unable to film, and I apologize for that. But at Devil's Den, we did 2 dives at Devil's Den, 2 dives at Blue Grotto. So that cleared us for all the fun activities and all the training that we had to do. And then after that, we did a 3rd dive at Devil's Den, which actually made us certified scuba divers. So at that point, Griffin was able to give me the GoPro, and I was able to film some stuff. And these were the shots that we were able to get underwater. They were absolutely beautiful. I mean, it wasn't the best, because once again, this was the first time that I've ever scuba dived and filmed at the same time. So obviously there's a learning curve to it, and we need more lights because it was dark. But on the other hand, it looked like something out of the National Geographic. Like, it reminded me of the Discovery Channel or something along those lines. And in this specific clip, you can see that Griffin is turning off all of our lights, so that I think we're about 50 feet underwater, maybe like 45 feet underwater. And Griffin is turning out all our lights, and I want to leave this in here so you guys can actually see how pitch dark it is, and how there's no sunlight entering the cave at this point because of how deep we are and how entrenched in the caves we were. And now you can see Griffin's dive computer, where I think we're 27 minutes into the dive, and we're about 50 feet underwater. And then slowly but surely, everybody starts turning on their lights again, and we can see, and we're all super stoked. A funny thing that Griffin said is the second he started turning off all the lights, and we were kind of like in the pitch darkness of the abyss that is the den, he could tell that our breathing started increasing, and he could hear us all start breathing really fast, which I thought was hilarious. And we were all kind of like clenching onto each other, holding onto each other, making sure that everybody is where they, because we couldn't see anything, so we're just like literally feeling around in the dark, to kind of just touching each other and making sure everybody's in the same area. So that was fun. Another thing about scuba diving is throughout this whole journey, you're going to realize and learn that you have to do a buddy system, is what they call it. So you're going to dive with you and your buddy. Typically you don't dive alone unless you're certified to dive alone, but typically when you dive with a buddy. So you're going to see that me and Kyra, we buddied up, and then Andrew and Caitlin were buddies, and then Griffin was on the opposite end. He was kind of just observing, making sure everybody was doing what they needed to do, and he was just guiding and being support if we needed it. So once again, this was absolutely wild. I cannot explain to you how beautiful. This just makes me want to do dives in the ocean. I mean, the springs was beautiful as well, and like underwater, there's just a whole nother world to explore. Like, skydiving is its own thing. It's beautiful, and you guys know me primarily for that, but scuba diving is also extremely beautiful, and it's almost peaceful and almost like a meditation. like you relax, you're breathing, you just kind of in the moment, you can't really think about anything else. And that's the same release that I get from skydiving. It's like a stress relief. So this was extremely exciting for me. And as you can see here, we're just kind of crawling through caves, and you can see little glimpses of the sunlight coming up from above, but for the most part we were down deep enough that you couldn't see anything unless you had a flashlight on, and that's why we had the lights going on. So with that being said, I do want to apologize for the shaky footage if it is bad, because this was, once again, I just finished graduating. This was my 5th dive after my graduation, and I literally had a GoPro in one hand and then a light in the other. But as you can see here, it says stay out, there's no divers beyond this point, because there was actually certain caves that were like blocked off, or they had signs where you couldn't enter because it gets too sketchy down there. So I mean, what we were doing was sketchy enough. Actually, this little part of the cave right here, I was kind of squeezing through, and I can feel that my tank was kind of like rubbing. So I made sure to take my sweet time getting through this little crack, because as you can see here, I get through, Kyra gets through, and then I turn around, and that's actually a great shot of Kyra. I actually turn around, and you can see that Griffin and Caitlin is trying to come up, and Caitlin gets stuck too because of how tight the little crevice was. But Griffin was always telling us, he's like, I'm gonna lead, and if I can fit through, trust me, like I know you guys can fit through because you guys are a lot smaller than I am. And I was like, okay, I mean, that gives me faith, it gives me comfort, it makes me feel comfortable. So as long as he's leading, I know I'm good. So as you can see here, he's pulling Caitlin out, making sure she doesn't hit her head. Once again, props to Griffin, you were holding it down. You are a professional, and I truly appreciate you, and thank you for all of this. This experience was above all phenomenal. So after we were able to get everybody safe and clear out of that little cave type area that was there, I actually popped my head up and I turned around and I ran right into the devil, not even expecting it. And then I saw it and I was like, whoa, this is pretty cool. And I turned around and tried to get everybody's attention with the flashlight, and I was like, come check this out, check this out. And Andrew thought, I mean, I thought the same thing. Andrew thought it was welded in or like kind of stuck in place, that the devil wasn't going to fall over or anything. So he tried to get a photo of him and Caitlin. He put his arm around, and the second he put his arm around it, he knocked it over. And at this point, I was literally laughing like into my regulator, which is the thing that we use to breathe. I was laughing so hard. So I just wanted to leave this in here. I thought it was hilarious. But yeah, after that, we continued exploring. As you can see here, we're still on our National Geographic vibe. We're just kind of still zooming around through the caves. And as we were, I guess we did laps a couple times in the caves, which is, I mean, doesn't surprise me because every wet rock looks like every other wet rock. So it's kind of hard to navigate underwater. And that was another thing we did. We did compass navigation. That was in our test. But regardless, as you can see here, Kyra has one of the weights that was in our BCs, or our buoyancy compensators, which is basically the life jacket thing that it looks like a backpack, and you put air into it or you take air out of it depending on how buoyant you want to be, I guess, or how floaty you want to be, if you want to put it into simple terms. So as you can see here, one of the exercises that we actually did was we had to take the weight out and put the weight back in. So this is Andrew doing a real life example of that same exercise that we did in the pool. And not only did we do in the pool, but we did actually in the springs. And then this is him doing it in real world, I guess, because he had misplaced one of his weights or lost one of the weights, and he didn't even realize it, and now he's replacing it. So props to him on that, and then props to us on finding it, because that would have cost a lot. Weights are expensive, surprisingly. So hey, everything's all peaches and cream there. So at this point, we're vibing out. We did a couple laps. I think the longest we did was like 47 minutes or 50 minutes underwater. So at this point, after being underwater for about 45 minutes to maybe 15 minutes, it was about time to go. You can see here that Griffin signals to check how much oxygen we have, and then Andrew replies back. So just like skydiving, there is certain hand signals that you can do underwater to communicate to other individuals, because obviously we can't speak underwater. So yes, there is hand signals. There was a lot of fun overall, a lot of information. Like throughout these, I think it was 4 days in total. Throughout these 4 days, I learned so much. And you can see here, Griffin is upside down. Him and Kyra do a fist bump because they were just kind of goofing around at this point. We're maybe 15 feet underwater, 13 feet underwater. Like you can see the sunlight at this point. So we're kind of goofing off. I hand the camera over to Griffin, and here's me goofing off. I'm upside down with my tank, just kind of being silly. You can see the stairwell in the background, and that's where we're going to go ahead and exit. But for now, we're just trying to like literally see how long we can hang out in the water and just kind of vibe out. So from left to right, it's going to be Caitlin, Andrew, myself, and then Kyra. And then you can see he swims over us, which is super cool. I absolutely love this group shot of all of us. Super cinematic. I should have slowed it down, but it's all good. And then he passes the camera back over to me. And then as you can see here, he tells us to go ahead and buddy up, because once again, scuba diving is a buddy up sport. And then we go ahead and ascend to the surface. So this is a photo or a video of Kyra looking like somebody on the moon. This is honestly, it reminds me a lot of like underwater in space, and They have similar properties, I feel like, because everything's in slow motion.
So, how does it feel to be certified badasses?
This is crazy. So like Griffin said, at this point, we are certified badasses. We are scuba diver certified. All we had to do was fill out the paperwork, but this was our 5th dive. We were ready to go, and I wanted to get a group shot. I want to thank everybody once again that was along for the journey. That was so much fun, and I truly appreciate you guys. You watched basically 4 skydivers. Well, Griffin's a skydiver too, but he was already a scuba diver. You basically watched 4 newbie skydivers turn into certified scuba divers. So that was extremely fun, and I just wanted to document this journey as everything that I do on this channel. Once again, this is the den. This is us leaving the den. I want to go ahead and thank you guys. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. Please share my videos if you enjoy them. I truly appreciate each and every one of you guys. Once again, till next time, much, 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 much love. And this is us leaving the den, certified scuba divers.